Cheltenham 2021 is one for the history books for Irish racing. 23 winners over the 4 days, 6 of them for the leading jockey, Rachel Blackmore. Willie Mullins takes home the leading trainer crown for the 8th time in 11 years. And what a week for Henry de Bromhead, who won the champion hurdle with Honeysuckle, the champion chase with Put the Kettle On, and today, the Cheltenham Gold Cup with Minella Indo. Here's how it happened.
Of a length to Plutard, Album Photo, now with 4 lengths to find on the 2 leaders as they head to the second last. Minella Indo comes up well, a great jump from Plutard in second place, and then Album Photo is going to be an all-Irish finish, that is for sure. Heading to the last, Minella Indo and Jack Kennedy. Plutard is trying to come back at him in second place with 3 lengths to find up the hill. Minella Indo, he's won here before at Cheltenham. Plutard giving chase all the way, getting closer now under Rachel Blackmore. Minella Indo is all out, flat out, but he wins the Gold Cup from his second Plutard. Third was Album Photo this time, denied. Back in third under Paul Townend.
Album Photo couldn't make it 3 in a row in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Rachel Blackmore came up just short as Jack Kennedy rode Minella Indo to victory at odds of 9-1. Let's hear from Minella Indo's trainer, Henry de Bromhead.
Yeah, he certainly did. You know, it's whatever it is about here, he's a little bit like Put the Kettle On. He just comes alive. You know, he's fast asleep at home on a daily basis. But even saddling him there, he was just like he did before the Albert Bartlett. He was kicking the back wall, and he was so up for it. And obviously we had the mishap at Christmas, and then he wasn't as good at in the Irish Gold Cup. But we kind of wanted to make sure, you know, we wanted to get a clear round that day as well. And Rachel rode him brilliantly. But anyhow, it's all come together here, and yeah, it's fantastic.
And how will you be celebrating? Are you going back tonight on the ferry, or are you?
Yeah, it'll be me, myself, and I on in the car and on the ferry. And yeah, that's it. There's no celebrating. Quarantine for 5 days. Then when I get home,
Really?
So yeah, absolutely, and then get a test on Wednesday, and once that's negative, we're all good to go again then. So, but looking forward to getting home to see the family and everything, absolutely.
Yeah, it certainly was a Cheltenham like no other, and a Cheltenham that Henry de Bromhead will never forget. Our Cheltenham coverage brought to you by Paddy Power. Don't feel like a punter, feel like a favourite this Cheltenham. For information on responsible gambling, visit gamblecare.ie. John Duggan is with us to reflect on the day and the week. And once again, John, we're wondering where to start with the superlatives for Henry de Bromhead, for Rachel Blackmore. It has just been a dream week for Irish racing.
Nathan, we can move Cheltenham here, really, the way it's gone. It's been absolutely amazing. They keep on talking about it being a dream, and it really is a dream that's turned into reality. Obviously, Ireland have been dominant in the last few years at the Cheltenham Festival. There hasn't been a UK winning week since 2015. But 19 winners in 2017 seemed high. But to win 23 out of 28 races, for Rachel Blackmore to have 6 winners, one more than the whole of the UK training establishment, is just mind-boggling. It really is. And that's not a hyperbole to say that. For Henry de Bromhead to do what no trainer's ever done before, champion hurdle, champion chase, and the Gold Cup, I don't know. I don't know what to say. We've had Aidan O'Brien go around the world, and Joseph as well win Melbourne Cups, and Aidan have all these Group 1 winners around the world in flat racing. But jumps racing, we are really the kings of it. I suppose we have been the kings of it for decades, and the fact that we've always bred so many good horses and we've sold them on to England, but we've kept them here now for a long time, and our rich owners have got into Irish racing and supported really, really good trainers and talented trainers like Henry and Willie Mullins and all these types of trainers. So it's I'm pretty lost for words. I was looking at through the card last night, Nathan. It was 7 Irish favourites, and we had 6 Irish winners out of 7 races today. And what else can you say?
Well, talk about the Gold Cup then, because it was a 1-2 for Henry de Bromhead. Rachel Blackmore just came up short on Plutard. She didn't need anything to cap a remarkable week. For Jack Kennedy, couldn't believe Jack Kennedy is still only 21 years of age. It feels as though he's been around forever. He was very emotional in the post-race interview. He's had a tough time with injuries. He's been through a lot for a young man, but this was a big victory on Minella Indo.
It was 4 leg breaks that he's had. And this was a guy touted for greatness from a very young age on the pony circuit, and then went to work for Gordon Elliott and riding the Michael and Eddie O'Leary horses, and riding Le Bake to win a Supreme Novices Hurdle at 25-1 a couple of years ago. But he's had a lot of issues with injuries, and to come back and to ride the way he's ridden this week, like the vagaries of racing, the ins and outs, the ups and downs. Like he fell from Anvo Allen yesterday in the first race, and you're thinking, okay, that's not a good result for him, because the horse was so exciting in his previous runs. Then the last race yesterday, he rode Mount Ida, who was with the washing at the back of the course, and then to come, I think, 1,000-1 shot and win the Kim Muir Chase, and that would have given him a lot of confidence going into the race in the Gold Cup today, Nathan. And he rode a really, really good race in Manila Indo. Manila Indo went to the festival a couple of years ago and won the Aber Bartlett Novices Hurdle at a price of 50-1 on good ground over 3 miles. Then turned up last year in the Novices Chase and got chinned by Champ on the line. Rachel Blackmore decided today to ride a Plutard, who'd won at Leopardstown at Christmas, and you couldn't really argue about that. Manila Indo fell in that race at Christmas, and Manila Indo had I would say now in hindsight, a confidence-boosting run in the Irish Gold Cup at Leopardstown. But the good ground, positive tactics from Jack Kennedy, a judge of pace, a really good judge of the timing of the race, got Manila Indo into a very good position. Rachel Blackmore closed the door on Album Photo, who I felt ran a little bit flat in third, but a Plutard just couldn't pass Manila Indo up the hill. And every time Manila Indo felt that a Plutard was closing, the ears were pricked, and he was just idling in front. He was just a bit lazy in front, and Jack always had enough of the tank to power up the hill and do it. And I suppose what we've seen this week, Nathan, is the passing of the baton, really, from Ruby, from Tony McCoy, from Barry Geraghty, from Davy Russell, although he will be back hopefully, to a new generation of Jack Kennedy and Rachel Blackmore.
It felt when Rachel Blackmore and A Plutard closed the door on Album Photo that this was going to be the moment that we would be looking back on for years to come. All the confidence she had just came pouring out. Unfortunately, A Plutard, the horse, just didn't have it right there, as you say, in the hill, but Rachel Blackmore probably couldn't have really done any more.
No, I don't think she could. She hunted around the back for the first circuit, and then she made her move, and she was tracking Album Photo all the way, and then she closed the door, and you're thinking to yourself, Plutard has it now. But Manila Indo is a tough stayer, and the thing about Manila Indo is he didn't see Champ last year until the very end of the race, very much on the line. But when Rachel went for her move at the final fence, Manila Indo responded to that, and Jack had enough petrol to get Manila Indo to win, and I think he would have won even if there's another 50, 100 yards. I still think Manila Indo would have won the race. So sometimes the horses can throw in disappointing efforts, but as we saw with the Puttle Kettle on earlier in the week, horses for courses does matter around Cheltenham, and Manila Indo's gone there 3 times now, won twice and been second once. So there, a Plutard has finished third at the festival last year. Maybe Manila Indo just found Cheltenham much more to his liking than the Plutard this year.
What were the other big stories then today?
Well, Rachel Blackmore riding her 6th winner on Calixios, a horse that had moved to Henry de Bromhead's from Gordon Elliott's just a few weeks ago. That was in the Triumph.
Put that into context on the 6 winners, because she finishes as leading jockey, and having claimed the champion hurdle on Honeysuckle, any amount of deserved plaudits. But in terms of Cheltenham, the history of Cheltenham, getting to 6 winners in the course of a week, just how big a deal is that?
Well, only Ruby's done it. Ruby rode 7 in 2009 and 2016. Nobody else is. Yeah, I remember Barry Geraghty, 3 rode 5 winners, or Jamie Osborne rode 5 winners in 1992, and it was a really big thing. And Tony McCoy would have dominant festivals. But I know there are more races now. But to ride 6 winners out of 28 races is staggering, really. And the way she did it as well, Nathan, she did it with such confidence. You can't really say that she did anything wrong in a Plutard in the Gold Cup. The horse just wasn't good enough to beat Manila Indo. We beat all the other horses, and she was just brilliant. And as I said earlier on the Cheltenham show, she's now in the bracket of Katie Taylor and Sonia O'Sullivan as Irish sporting legends.
Katie is probably a good comparison, because we will talk a lot about Rachel Blackmore this week, the coming weeks, all year long, about what a superstar she is. And I suspect Rachel Blackmore is going, "You're grand, thanks. I'll just keep the head down and get going with the day job."
She doesn't like it. I remember going to Leopardstown last year, ahead of the festival, and I was just talking about gender, and she just didn't want to know my question. And no, she wasn't being rude or anything. She just doesn't see it as a big deal. And I suppose in this country, we're quite relaxed about it, in that with Sonia and with Katie's success, we're not too hung up as maybe the UK media are about what. If Rachel was a UK jockey, she'd be all over the front pages tomorrow, without a doubt. She'd be BBC Sports Personality of the Year. I think that'll probably happen here, but we're just, I think, a bit more relaxed about it and a bit more, I don't know if mature is the word, but a bit more chilled about the whole thing, as is she. And I don't think she minded, but I really do feel a bit sorry for her that she couldn't get to celebrate with all the supporters in the crowd, in the stands, cheering her on, and all the people who would have been normally in a winner's enclosure. A lot of people had that strange feeling this week, a lot of syndicates.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. And we even heard there from Henry de Bromhead, home now and 5 days quarantine. It very much was a festival that hopefully we will never see the likes of again. Willie Mullins, it felt as though he had a quiet week because we spent all week talking about Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore, yet lo and behold, he ends up as leading trainer, much to your delight, John.
Sure, I've got the hat on for a reason, Nathan. But lucky enough, I was feeling that it wasn't going to be my week, and the last two winners at 16-1 and 8-1.
Nice.
So look, I felt that. I told people on Twitter, Nathan, you got to listen to the Cheltenham show with Tom Malone doing such a brilliant job, and Johnny Ward and Paddy Power. Johnny gave that horse Vanillier at 16-1. Paddy gave Manila Indo and told us exactly what was going to happen in the race, with the fact that there'd be twists in the tail, and I had the last two winners. So that's what you need to listen to off the ball and watch off the ball. But yeah, lucky to make a bit of a profit for charity, 46% this year. And after an upsetting trip home last year, it was a confusing and upsetting time. I'm actually a bit relieved now.
Good man. So 23 winners for the Irish. There'll be a bit of soul searching, I'd imagine, for the English. Was it just one of those years, or is this feeding into a much greater pattern?
Much greater pattern, Nathan. It's a crisis, an absolute crisis for jumps racing in the UK. And when you think about it, of those 23 winners, so many good novices, Monkfish, Bob Ollinger, Anvil Allen will be back. Appreciate it. These are not English horses, these are Irish horses. And it's 6 years now since there were more UK winners than Irish winners. So this is a trend that is just getting worse and worse for them. And I know on ITV they were trying to make up a rivalry about this, but there was no rivalry, there was no contest. And I hope it does change. I hope you have Caught a Star and you have a Denman and you have UK trainers and UK owners, because that's what the sport needs. Because at the moment it feels like Punchestown abroad. And that's a strange feeling. And I feel that their lack of investment in prize money, and the obviously owners are saying to themselves, you know what, I can't compete with JP or with Duggan or Rich Ritchie that are sending these horses to Ireland. Well, obviously the brilliant trainers they have over in Ireland. It's easier for them to get involved in the flat. But they need to look in the mirror, because I'm sure if we had a festival here and we 28 races and we saw this as the Olympics of the sport, and it had major advertising and a major TV company behind it and millions of people punting on it, if there were 23 British winners over here, we'd be asking ourselves some serious questions, and I think they need to do that, as Gina Bryce was saying on the show earlier on.
What was your standout moment of the week?
Honeysuckle. It was just great for Rachel to win on the champion hurdle the way she did. It was so easy. The horse has never been beaten. She's a great mare, so relaxed. And I just think that was the moment when sometimes, when Brianna Driscoll scores a hat-trick at tries, or I don't know, I'm trying to think, Katie Taylor winning the gold, or when somebody arrives in sport and has one of those moments, that was like the Brianna Driscoll hat-trick for me, for Rachel Blackmore. Because from that moment on, I think people just saw, oh, that's a really talented jockey, Rachel Blackmore. She's doing well. She's riding a lot of winners. But I think from a mass appeal point of view, Nathan, and not just a racing thing, from a mass appeal point of view, everybody now in the country, you're just thinking, who's the first guest going to be in the Late Late Show? It's going to be Rachel Blackmore. So that is the highlight. So I think everything she did from there, just the limelight was on her, and then she delivered in front of the limelight. So that's just great.
John, great stuff all week. Relax,
Thanks,
put the feet up, enjoy the winnings.
And we'll look forward to tomorrow. We got a really important panel with Jason Sherlock, Darren Randolph, and Des Tomlinson on racism in sport. And hopefully people might be able to pick it up tomorrow.
Yeah, well, we're tuning in from 1 o'clock on Saturday's OTB. John Duggan there, reflecting on an incredible success at Cheltenham for the Irish. Coming up, we're going to talk more about that on Friday Night Racing. We've got Danny Mullins and Paul Hennessy alongside Johnny Ward. And in a couple of moments' time, we're going to talk rugby and look ahead to Ireland against England. Maybe it's all going in our favour this week. Maggie Alfonsi is going to join us for that.